Hello, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Can I have your attention, please? Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin Vaughn. I'm the Associate Dean here at UCLA Extension, and on behalf of myself, the Dean's Office, and UCLA Extension, I wanted to welcome you all to the 2017 UCLA Extension Distinguished Instructor Awards ceremony. We are all here to honor our outstanding instructors, so please join me first in offering an especially warm welcome to this year's honorees and their guests. So I just have a few words here before we start the actual awards. You know, in the pursuit of UCLA Extension's mission to provide extraordinary learning experiences for adults of all ages, we all play an important role, certainly. But no role is as critical as that of the instructor. The instructor is, of course, the person who most directly and concretely provides those extraordinary learning experiences for our students. In these awards, these are my third awards, actually, since I've been here. These awards are particularly meaningful for me, and they're one of my favorite events that we do here. They're particularly meaningful for me both because of my role at Extension as Associate Dean and because of my background. I've actually been in higher education my entire adult life, and 15 of the last 17 years, professor, not dean, was my day job. And I've had the pleasure of teaching dozens and dozens of courses, from undergraduate lectures to specialized graduate seminars. I've worked with thousands of students at 3 universities, and this experience has given me a very good understanding of how a strong relationship between teacher and student can truly change lives for the better. Now, these relationships, of course, are not always highlighted in student evaluations, and I was actually going through some of my old evaluations in preparation for today and found these actual gems from early in my career that I thought you would appreciate. Just 3. First one, he made anthropology about as fun as one could expect. Number 2, his tests are biased towards students who go to class and read the textbook. It's a true one. And the ever so helpful, I liked Vaughn better with short hair. Right? So evaluations is what keeps you going, right? But seriously, though the instructors we are honoring this evening really come from different work experiences and academic disciplines, what they share is the ability to build those kinds of relationships through bonds of curiosity, inquiry, and intellectual rigor. And just to foreshadow who we are honoring tonight, we have a former UCLA Extension student who has taken over 30 of our courses before becoming an instructor herself. We have an instructor who started teaching before arriving at UCLA Extension when she was 13 years old in Pakistan. And I read that and I was like, I thought I looked young when I started teaching in the early aughts. Several instructors are described as integral members of their UCLA Extension department and working side by side with us rather than for us. We have an instructor who has taught for us in China, Morocco, South Korea, Vietnam, Italy, Malaysia, and Singapore. I want that job right there. We have instructors of languages, not just English, but SQL, business instructors, a design instructor, an education instructor, a technical management instructor, a chemistry instructor who teaches a 4-hour Saturday morning chemistry class, no less, and still gets rave reviews, and a sustainability instructor. We have face-to-face instructors and online instructors represented in this group. So clearly our instructors run the gamut, and today we gladly honor their exceptional service to UCLA Extension, their students, and our community. We know that every day they enter a classroom, whether physical or online, they honor us. So at my first Distinguished Instructor Awards event in 2015, it occurred to me how the awards event itself created an opportunity for Extension staff and our instructors to connect with one another, and for our instructors to connect with their colleagues from different disciplines. And it was clear to me over the next couple of years that instructors come literally from all walks of life. You're professionals, you are full-time instructors, you're part-time instructors, and you live everywhere in the city or even outside the city and state in the case of our online instructors. And because of this, I found that it was actually very difficult for instructors to establish community here. Some instructor groups have it. The community of practice in ALC is particularly strong, but others don't. And the idea of building community is a broader, more open-ended goal, but I was so impressed with the community building aspect of the Distinguished Instructor event 2 years ago, I knew that I wanted to create more opportunities for that sort of thing. So we've done a couple of things in that regard with the help of some of you and some of our outstanding staff at UCLA Extension. Just a couple of examples that I want all the instructors here to be aware of if you're not aware of these things yet. Last year, I formed an instructor advisory group, and this body is a mechanism to provide communication between the leadership of UCLA Extension and our instructors. We meet 2 to 3 times a year, and these meetings have been, from my perspective, very successful as we engage in issues such as building an instructor community, instructor training, and the instructor evaluation process, among many other things. It's an all-volunteer group, and we all greatly appreciate their commitment to our institution. In an effort to build instructor community, we've also been working on other things, including hosting our first ever instructor appreciation dinner last August, to which we invited all of our instructors, and I know many of you were there. This was an evening of conversation, networking, and community building, and we hope to have more events like that in the years to come. Furthermore, we've established a LinkedIn instructor group to which you are all invited to share your ideas and to network virtually. I know many of you are already in that LinkedIn group. And then finally, we've established an instructor portal recently, and I announced this in my quarterly email to all instructors that either you've read or you promptly ignored earlier this quarter. But we have an instructor portal at instructor.uclaextension.edu where we post news, events, and various items of interest for you to browse. And the thing is we're always looking for suggestions. So if you're an instructor, if you're a staff member, you can always let me know, let any of us know what are some of the ways that we can help build community, build that instructor community so that we can talk to each other and so that we can get feedback from our instructors. So our efforts to bring you into more of what we do here at UCLA Extension continues, and it really bears repeating that no role at UCLA Extension is as critical to what we do as that of the instructor. So thank you again. Now, before we present the awards, I just wanted to thank a few people here tonight for helping make this event happen. First, I wanted to thank the Dean's Office staff, so Mark Sung, Jacqueline Taylor-Sullivan, Emily Cosa, and Elise LeBron. Where are you guys? You all stand up for a moment. As well as Helen Williams. Helen? In the back. Helen, thank you. They all have been organizing this soiree from the get-go, and I really appreciate the efforts that you've made here. And second, I wanted to thank the UCLA Extension program department staff for helping make your job as an instructor easier. So to the directors and program reps here, thank you. So, you're really the ones that keep this operation going, and we're very, very glad that you can be a part of this. So, without further ado, to begin the presentation of awards, I wanted to introduce the Dean of UCLA Extension, Wayne Smoots. And since coming to UCLA Extension in 2013, Wayne has really committed himself and this institution to engaging the power of education to transform lives, businesses, and communities worldwide. He really understands how crucial our instructors are to the pursuit of that vision, I know that he is very much looking forward to introducing our distinguished instructors and our Dean's Award winner, and to recognizing them for their stellar work in the past year. So please welcome Dean Wayne Smoots.
So thank you, Kevin. Can you hear me with this? Okay, good. So don't get too excited because I have a few words to say before we get to the awards, but we'll get there. So thanks to our staff, our distinguished instructors, and their guests. There are a lot of reasons why I'm happy to come to work every day at UCLA Extension. Our vital mission in the community, our great staff, our amazing students, the Southern California weather, which I never get tired of. But one of the most important reasons is the opportunity to work with the kinds of skilled, committed, passionate instructors we're honoring here this evening. Our instructors do fantastic work. They are the backbone of what we do here. Students' experience with their instructors, for the most part, is their experience with UCLA Extension. If we're getting that right, then we're most of the way there in fulfilling our mission. The combination of real-world experience and academic excellence our instructors bring to the classroom is the most visible, tangible representation of who we are. Our students come to us because they know that our instructors are the very best. And I'm not just saying that. They are the very best. Our 2017 distinguished instructors we are recognizing here represent the best of the best. We have chosen 8 instructors to receive the Distinguished Instructor Award, which represents less than 1% of our total number of instructors. In addition, we will be presenting the Dean's Award, which honors commitment to academic and advisory service in the UCLA Extension community. Our mission, as Kevin mentioned, is to create extraordinary learning experiences for adults of all ages. Probably the most critical word in that statement is the word create. Higher education is changing for a variety of reasons, many of them technological. Those changes are interconnected with a shift to what students demand from the higher education experience. The old model of the teacher standing at the front of the classroom and handing students received wisdom is changing because students are telling us that it's not working for them anymore. And because research is telling us that lectures by themselves aren't that effective. Higher education is moving to a more student-centric approach because that's what our students need, what our businesses need, and what our communities need. In this environment, we need to be creative thinkers and innovators in the classroom as well as beyond the classroom walls. I'm happy to say that the instructors we are honoring here this evening are ahead of the curve on that new student-focused approach. As I read the effusive and heartfelt nominations for these awards that their colleagues wrote about them, I was impressed, but not surprised to learn that these award winners have all shown great creativity in their approach to bringing extraordinary learning experiences to the students in their classes. Those of us on the staff side of UCLA Extension have been getting creative as well. For more than 3 years now, we have researched, created, and implemented a new strategic plan. In addition to articulating our mission, vision, and values, the strategic plan identifies 4 overarching strategic priorities. Now, staff who are here, what are those? No, it's just a joke. But I bet most of them remember what they are. 1, collaborate with partners to usher in a new era of partnership through collaboration. 2, extend our reach to grow and enhance the awareness, image, size, and scope of UCLA Extension. 3, serve students first, to reinvent the way we serve learners to make sure experiences are extraordinary. And 4, reimagine learning, to discover, create, and pursue new models of learning. Each of these priorities also has several corresponding actions. Many of these actions have to do with helping our instructors do their vital jobs even better. Under collaborate with partners, many of the partners we're talking about are the broader Los Angeles community, which is a new focus of ours, by the way. But we've also had detailed discussions about how we can better collaborate with each other within UCLA Extension. The instructor advisory group that Kevin mentioned is one of those things about collaboration. Under Extend Our Reach, we've been stepping up our efforts to offer in-person classes across Los Angeles. We've revamped the curriculum in our downtown LA location and our new Woodland Hills location. How many of you knew we had a Woodland Hills location? Yay, some of you. The Woodland Hills location opened for the spring quarter. We're developing plans for pop-up classrooms that will enable us to reach even more neighborhoods. We've also formed a committee on access, inclusion, and excellence, which will help us build relationships and partnerships in underserved communities of Los Angeles. Our instructors will become the face of Extension to many more community groups. Under Serve Our Students First, we have launched an inspiring transformation initiative which will support robust career services and job readiness programs, helping our students take what they've learned in our instructors' classrooms and put it into action in the workplace. Under Reimagine Learning, we are working to harness the innovative forces of Los Angeles' entertainment, gaming, and technology sectors to give our instructors the tools they'll need to make learning stimulating, engaging, challenging, and relevant to the 21st century world, something I'm sure all of you do already, but maybe everybody doesn't do that. These are just some of the ways we are striving to help all of our instructors bring their very best to our students. We are in the business of transforming lives, and ultimately it's our instructors who make that transformation a reality for those we serve. As you hear from the instructors we're honoring tonight, I ask you to think about the lives that they have changed through their efforts in the classroom. But as any good teacher will tell you, the transformative power of education works both ways. These instructors have been transformed by their experience as well. They have become the kind of teachers any institution would be proud to call their own. Please join me in offering your congratulations to all of them for their exceptional service. Thank you. Now we get to the awards, okay? So we're going to go by department. So first up is Tara Neuwirth from the American Language Center. Tara, there she is.
Thank you, Wayne. So it's my pleasure to introduce the American Language Center's distinguished instructor, Kathy Gardner. At the ALC, we work with international students, and we help them with English for academic and professional purposes, for their careers, their academic careers, or their work in the U.S. or internationally. And I'm sure many of you here also work with international students, right? I know at our table there's another instructor that does, right? Anybody else work with international students? Yeah? Or travels? So, I'm sure you know that requires special skills. So, as a distinguished instructor, it's a given that you have those skills in the classroom, and Kathy certainly has those skills in the international classroom. And she's also a fantastic colleague who contributes to the success of our programs and our classes throughout the department. In addition, she shares that international background of our students and the international outlook of Extension. You can read in her bio in the program that when she was growing up, she lived in Pakistan and Mauritania, where her father was a U.S. diplomat. And she's the one who was teaching English in a kitchen in Pakistan when she was 13. What Kathy also does brilliantly is what Extension and all of you do, which is to provide students the skills they need for success. And one of the keys to that success for international students particularly is not just connecting with students from all over the world, but connecting with Americans. It's not easy for them. So in her classroom, she connects students from China and Brazil and France and Japan and Saudi Arabia. That list is very big, but she also brings them out into the community, and she connects them to Americans, brings them out to meet with community members in Westwood, brings UCLA affiliated volunteers and OSHER members to come and meet with the students in class, and she really enriches not only their experience, but the experience of the Americans who meet them. And it really makes a difference when they go out to their career, because they have to be able to communicate with everybody, and she does that so beautifully. Kathy, it's an honor to work with you every day at the American Language Center, and to support you as you change individual lives and make the world a better place. Come on.
Thank you, Tara. When I came home and told my husband that I got this award, he said, "Well, that was quick, only 28 years." Then he lamented the fact that he hadn't won any awards recently, until he recalled that he had gotten Customer of the Week twice at our nearby Coffee Beans. So we're going to celebrate that tonight, honey. My mother told me I didn't have to be a teacher. The world had changed. Women could do anything. You didn't have to be a nurse. You didn't have to be a teacher. So after I graduated from college, I went into banking. I ran a youth tennis program. But teaching always called me back. And as Tara was saying, when I was 13, I lived in Pakistan. My father was a diplomat. And we had a Pakistani cook named Gul Bahar Khan. And he could speak English, but he couldn't read English. And he knew that if he could read English, his job prospects would increase tremendously. So I was 13 years old. He said, "Please teach me to read English." I agreed. We went back in that hot kitchen. And in Lahore, Pakistan standards, a hot kitchen is 110 to 115 degrees with no air conditioning. And we studied English. I taught him English from my mother's cookbooks. And he was motivated, and he was smart, and he learned quickly. We were then assigned to a different post, but my father was reassigned to Pakistan several years later, and Gul paid him a visit. Using his English skills, he had become a cook in the Saudi Arabian army. And he had come back on leave, and he came to my father's house wearing a three-piece suit. And he sat in the living room with my father, and he was served tea in a porcelain cup. And if that isn't an example of education crossing, destroying socioeconomic barriers, I don't know of a better example. So when I came to California, I decided to become a teacher of English as a second language, a career that I've loved dearly. As Tara was saying, what it does, it gives you entree into other people's lives. And the students know when you are connecting with them that you are concerned, of course, about their academic ability, what they're learning, can they pass that TOEFL exam, but you are also meeting them person to person. And that's been what has drawn me so much to this calling. Did you know there are more speakers of English as a second language in the world than as native English speakers? It's really phenomenal. And English language instruction has changed so much since I started teaching. I mean, now students can practice English vocabulary with their smartwatches. I mean, who would have thought? At the American Language Center, I'm in the communication program, and we emphasize using English. David Esky, an educator, said, "People do not learn languages and then use them, but people learn languages by using them." And so my students use English in our classrooms to talk about the educational system in Korea, to talk about refugees in Europe, or what Black Lives Matter means in the United States, okay? And they're doing this all in English, working with each other. It's like they are a mini United Nations. And if there's any hope for world understanding, it's right there in that classroom. What have I learned in 28 years of teaching? Less of me, more of them. I have a visual that at the beginning of class, everyone, including me, is given an empty jar and a bag of marbles. And every word you speak in class, there's a marble that goes in that jar. So at the end of class, let's look at those jars of marbles. Is mine brimming over? Are there paltry numbers in the students' jars? Okay. Sometimes I say to my husband at night, there were too many marbles in my jar today. And that's where the heart of instruction comes in. Creating lesson plans, whatever they're online, offline, whatever, but that contain interactive activities so that the students are learning, experiential learning, not being lectured to, particularly in a language class. Okay? I've also realized how important it is to provide a supportive environment to learn, particularly in language instruction, because you're taking risks all the time. How do you pronounce this word? How to use that grammar that is so different than the grammar of your own language. You know, so I think Maya Angelou said it best. She said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. I've had wonderful role models in leadership at the ALC and UNIX. Pat Calabucci takes a real interest in teachers' opinions. Tara Newworth expects the best from us, and in turn, she gives us her best. Adam Rados always strives to make sure our programs are relevant and current. I'm very appreciative of all their support and of the invaluable work from our staff members. Mike White, I couldn't go a day without Mike White. And June Kim, who's the background runner of the whole program. I am honored and thankful to receive this Distinguished Teacher Award. I feel so fortunate, to have had the opportunity to work in this field and at this respected institution. Even after 28 years, it still fills me with pride and joy when a student raises a hand and says, "Teacher."
Knows what he's doing. So, from the arts department, let me introduce Scott Hutchinson.
It was a short walk. So I could not be more pleased to acknowledge this evening and honor Shireen Raban in her inspired and tireless work for the Department of the Arts at UCLA Extension and for UCLA Extension as a whole. As hinted in the program copy that you all have, Shireen is simply one of those people that steps up and contributes powerfully without needing to be prompted. She engages across the spectrum of activities Extension's involved in, be it in her classes, design planning meetings, new course development, design-related events through our national student group, AIGA, or at conferences we put on, such as the one we did a few days ago, TEDx UCLA. I would describe Shireen as someone that's deeply, deeply curious, as one that is constantly learning, as you can see with the work she's done here at Extension, with the work she's done in her graduate studies at USC, and is someone that is just truly remarkable at sharing what is important about design in the visual arts to all of those around her, and especially to her students. Her deep engagement in the design community pays us and our students huge, huge benefits. Her thoughtful curation and ability to engage top-name designers and guests for her classes simply borders on the remarkable. Students are lucky to have the chance to work with her, and certainly we are as well. Congratulations, Shireen, on a well-deserved award, and please, all of you, help me welcome her to the stage.
This is amazing. I won this award a few years ago. It doesn't matter. It's always really surprising and amazing, and I don't know what to say. I am honored and humbled at the recognition. It really means a lot to me that I am recognized by my students, by my peers, by the colleagues. I think for anybody, that's really the most important thing that you ever want in life, to be understood and of course to be appreciated, but to be understood. And I think, you know, that really is the most important thing to me. I wrote something, but I think I'm just going to talk. I was a student at UCLA Extension since 1992 when I graduated from Cal State Northridge. And I was really lost because I was at that juncture when technology changed. And well, when I graduated, I was pregnant. So by the time my son was born, I was completely out of the market. I just couldn't get a job. And my portfolio was actually good, but it was handmade. It was not computerized. Thanks to my husband, he was pushing me and saying, take UCLA Extension class. You know, I've been taking all these classes. Probably by now I've taken about 40 courses or seminars or whatever's, because I just love it. And I'm sure you all are the same exact way. But, you know, it's ironic that today when I'm teaching in my classes, I am trying to teach the students how to use tactile, how to have a negotiation with their computer, how to draw a little bit, take a picture with your iPhone, put it in the computer, and then do something, and then print it again, and then do this, and then go back. And that, you know, is a tough sell. But I push them, I challenge them, and it's really rewarding, because I think, you know, like you already said, it's really what they remember, what the students remember is a feeling they get out of a class, is knowing that you believe in them, knowing that you care for them. I was an immigrant. I came here when I was 18. I wasn't speaking English as well. Now I'm better. But I also thought that I was American because I was born in Madison, Wisconsin, when my dad was studying for his PhD, and I lived here for 10 months and then came back to Iran. And so all of my family kept telling me that I was American, you know. And then I came here and I thought I was an American, and I could not talk. I had been to bilingual school for a long time, so I knew English, but I didn't know how to speak. So it really took me probably the first 20 years that I was here to really feel like I'm 20 years old again, which was nice. And also the fact that my children were growing up with me and I learned from them, and then I brought that into my classroom. When my son went to college, then I felt like, okay, I went back to college again. I started teaching at Cal State Northridge at that time. And I think that has really been a blessing for me to have the opportunity to teach here and to teach at Cal State Northridge, to teach here mostly online now, although I am also teaching history of graphic design in the classroom. But the fact that I have the different demographics of the students. At Cal State Northridge, I have a different type of student. Some classes I have people from all across the arts, meaning animation, graphic design, fine arts, illustration, photography, and so on, which really gives me insight. I learn from those students to bring the art into my classrooms here at UCLA Extension, and I bring the design thinking that specifically Scott Hutchinson teaches me when I call his office and I say, Scott, I need to talk to you about my my syllabi, or I need to talk about this class. What do you think? Or he says to me, I really don't like what's coming out of your class here. You really need to be pushing this. You need to be working on that. And I'm like, oh, okay, what is that? So I was like, I'll take another class. So, and that's what I love about it. That's what I love, the challenge, the opportunity to take the courses here and to work with the students. And also, at UCLA Extension, being a student when I was a professional, and I really didn't feel like a professional. was really fantastic to me. I didn't have mentors, as an immigrant. I did not have mentors. I kept getting in the rut of the same type of job. And the only times that I would come here and take a class was when the light would open and something fantastic would happen. Specifically when I was at Saban Entertainment, I was pushing Photoshop. I was really learning a lot of technology on my jobs, but not design. So when I took Dean Swick's class, Typography 2, is when my whole world rocked. And I was introduced to the work of David Carson. That was in the 90s when nobody knew about him. He was just a rising star. And that really unleashed my creativity. And I think that moment is when I really knew that I really wanted to be. I always knew I wanted to be a teacher, but then I really knew. And because I had found my own creative voice, and I'm hoping that what I do in the classroom allows for my students to bring their creative voice out, rather than teaching them some semantics or anything like that. So I'm not very conventional in teaching. I just come up with new stuff, and then we see what they want, and then take it from there. Thank you. Thank you to my husband, Farah, who has always been the wind beneath my wings. It's hard to be married to a teacher or to a designer or to a creative person. I wake up in the middle of the night, where are you? Oh, I'm in the other room writing, or and he never says anything, always supporting me. I could have not done any of this without you. And thank you to Scott for really being my mentor, my boss, my friend, my colleague, really pushing me. I think that challenge really has informed my career and my life. And thank you for the staff at UCLA Extension. Thank you, Gretchen. Thanks to Kate, she's not here. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you. Thank you to Christina and to Lexi and Anna specifically. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk.
So, how many of you out there haven't taken 40 courses with us? We have lots of space, so come on forward. Next, presenting for business management and legal programs is Ing Fanza.
Good evening, everyone. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our next Distinguished Award recipient, Mr. Mark Stern. For the last 18 years, Mark has been teaching marketing and sales courses in the Department of Business Management and Legal Programs, and has been helping UCLA Extension students grow and achieve their personal and professional goals. He has inspired students, encouraged students, and supported students outside, way beyond the classroom, as he's taught them the principles of marketing, the principles of sales, and instilling into them the highest ethical standards as marketing and sales professionals. I really do count myself among the fortunate here at UCLA Extension for having Mark as one of my instructors. And I've come to know him as someone who deeply cares about his students learning and succeeding. He's always working to evolve his teaching and always enthusiastic about opportunities to grow as an instructor. Additionally, I can always count on Mark to collaborate with other instructors and to help ensure that we are delivering the highest quality education to our students. Even tonight, Mark was telling me about a couple of students that he's still in contact with, one who's a successful entrepreneur and was just in contact with her hearing about the latest successes that she's had, and then also trying to hook another student up with a job. So constantly thinking about his students and trying to make sure that what he's doing is supporting and helping them. Mark works really hard for our students, and so I'm really pleased that we're able to honor him tonight. So please join me in honoring, thanking, and congratulating Mark.
Okay, well, I've been told to keep this brief, so I'll try. It's very hard for a marketing and sales guy to keep it brief. So this is not bad for a kid that was born in the South Bronx. I used to go to school and have to pay for protection to get home. And that even doesn't count how much I dislike school. And as my wife Kathy and Kim say to me, my daughter, how can you teach college when you barely got out of high school? But here I am, and it's been a thrill to be part of this distinguished school, to work with people like Ing, who is just an amazing program director. But this all couldn't happen without the support of the director of programs, the director, the program representatives, the support staff, that really enhance our instructor body to be as successful as we are. In sales and marketing, we have the opportunity to really put pressure on our students. Have them come up to the front of the classroom and get videotaped. Go out to the real world and interview entrepreneurs and CEOs and see what it's really like out there in the business world. As I go through my career in the later years, I try to bring in a real business to work on group projects. And as Ing knows, I recruit from the restaurant conference here, and I get restaurants like California Pizza Kitchen, Veggie Grill, some of these major chains, to give just all their time to come in and work with students on projects that I design along with my teacher's assistant, Kathy, and have students work in a short period of time. I teach in a day course, and in 6 weeks, they have to put together not a marketing plan, but something more focused on what I'll call my client, like Lazy Dog Cafe or Veggie Grill, would like to achieve from marketing students. And it's amazing to see these people and these students come in and say, oh my God, 6 weeks, I can't do it. Or, how do I do this when there's only 5 weeks left? Because it's so big. It's such a big project. And you see them come out and they shine. And what's even more of a thrill is the professional selling class that I've taught, and a couple of my former students are here, which is really great. You put somebody who's never even thought about sales, and you put them up in front of a video camera, and they just say, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I say, well, you've got to do it. It's part of the class. Your grade this is part of your grade. And they get up there and they do this presentation and they're shaking, and then we run it back on video and they say, wow, that's me. And they realize that they have the power, they have the empowerment to be who they are by taking these business classes, these sales classes, these marketing classes, and give them the confidence to know that when they leave this program, they will be successful. And it's an honor to teach amongst instructors that are just amazing instructors that have tremendous business backgrounds. I was in corporate for 30 years. People always ask me, why are you doing this? You worked for 30 years in corporate. Why don't you relax? Why don't you go to Hawaii? Take your family and go on a vacation. It's the passion, the passion that we all need to give back to our students. And I love to use the expression, play it forward. Just pay it forward and teach our students that they can really make a difference out there. And if I may, just read a very brief email that I got from a student. She's from Greece. And gosh, maybe a year after she left, she sent me an email. And her name was Evelina. And Evelina was a student in my ethics and marketing. Tough class to teach, ethics and marketing. Because the first thing people say to me, that's an oxymoron. And we developed this course many years ago because we wanted an ethics class for each discipline so students would leave with a feeling about what is it to be like to be ethical in what I'm going to do. So Evangelina said, I was a student in my ethics and marketing class, 2014. I come from Greece, now living in Cyprus. Soon after she completed this UCLA course, she emailed me with a YouTube video called Philatimo, the Greek secret. There are several complementary words that describe philatimo and some of these values for doing the right thing: compassion, humility, generosity, honesty, and knowledge. And on her Facebook, she said she was having a discussion with her mother about great quality attributes of prior instructors that you as an ex-student will remember. Evangelina's response was, I told her that a teacher is not only remembered for their academic course materials, but also for human qualities that make them inspirational, and also a mentor. These are qualities that make up much of UCLA Extension's instructor body, and it's a significant part of the success that the UCLA brand is and that I'm part of. So thank you for making our program. Thank the instructors, the staff, the people on video cameras, everybody here that makes it successful. I have the opportunity to really do have a passion for the students. I want them to be successful in sales and marketing. It's all about who you are. You know, these guys, you both have been so successful in your careers. It's a thrill to get these emails from all around the world, from students that are close by, to mentor them, to answer questions, and that just reflects the kind of instructor body that we have, I'm sure, throughout the extension program, but with our business department. They're an exceptional group that network together, that speak to each other, that help each other in each other's classes, and it's a thrill to be part of that, and to just see our students thrive, to hear from them a year or 2 years or 5 or 10 years later saying, I just got a promotion, I'm now regional sales manager. You know, Mark, I just opened up my entrepreneurial business, like Amara that Ing had mentioned. From Venezuela, came here, wanted to open her own business. She now has a thriving business in South Pasadena, Amara's Venezuelan Coffee and Sweets Cafe. She's now in probably 6th year. I helped her with a marketing plan. She struggled for a couple of years. We went out there and she was making truffles in the kitchen and making all of her candies. And now, today, she was awarded the Restaurant of the Year for Southern Pasadena. So these are the students that you're passionate about. These are the students that I know you can be successful on your path. And to me, every student gets that kind of attention. They could be the next Steve Jobs. You know, they could be the next who knows what, but the visions that we look for in the next generation and the path forward that hopefully I can transfer, that I can just share with these students. And I thank you for letting me be part of that. Ing, who is just an incredible program director, thank you for your nice, kind words about me. And she just amazes me. So thank you. I really appreciate the award. You heard the words that Evelina said, humble, passionate. It's something I want to share with my students. I'm very, very grateful for this award. I thank you.
The next presenter is Van Anderson for the Custom Programs and Corporate Education Program. Oh, there you are.
Hello. So I didn't prepare, a speech or anything. I wrote enough in that booklet there, so that's pretty much all you get from me, David. No, I'm really honored and pleased to have David French be a distinguished instructor. He's been working in the Department of Business and Management for many, many years. But for us, he's more of a partner. I don't even consider him an instructor anymore. I consider him just part of our team. We work very similarly, but he's always just trying to take things to the next level. He's always moving projects forward, and he's our biggest advocate and our biggest salesperson. See from what I wrote, like he's done over 15 custom programs. I think he's done a lot more, but I was here late that night, and I just got tired of counting. And I was like, that's enough. That's impressive enough. I don't need any more. He's delivered programs for 6 different languages. We've sent him abroad. He's always looking for new business development ideas and activities. He's just one of those people who's just part of the team. It's most of my clients, when they want to speak to an instructor prior to signing a contract or having us come on site to the company, it's usually a conference call. We're part of the call. If it's on site, we're part of the meeting. I had a big client, and they just wanted to talk to David alone. And I was like, oh, Lord. Like, what have we done? But when they're still willing to sign the contract and move forward and want him back. And, on the next iteration that we're going to do for them, they're actually reducing the role of one of my favorite instructors from, Anderson to increasing David's role in the program, which just is a testament to him and the value that he creates for our clients, because our programs for companies are not cheap, and so we have to really, really add value and to really give practical solutions to their problems for them to be happy and to want to come back. But and it takes a special kind of instructor to be able to teach to. We have 18, 19-year-old undergraduates from various countries to the highest levels of management and leadership, the C-suite for major Fortune 100 companies. So and for them all to be engaged and to really be able to connect and to learn. It's funny, sometimes I feel like my clients don't even need me anymore when David's in the room. It's like I had a student from Spain, and he came to me and he's like, I really want this internship with this company. I've been trying, and they won't return my calls and my emails. And I was like, oh, I'm sure I can help you. I can at least try to get you an interview, so I'll work on it. So working on it. And I saw the student again. I was like, oh, I think I got you an interview next week. Are you available Tuesday or Wednesday? He's like, oh, I don't need it anymore. David got me into the MBA program at Loyola. I'm like, what? And I remember like the last day of like one of our biggest programs at Fox Entertainment. They finished their presentations, and I was there to I wanted to talk to the students at the end, and they were just lined up in a circle around David, just chat, and I was just standing there like. So I just eventually just went home. I was like, it's Friday, I've got things to do, so David can stay here. But we kind of think alike, and we sort of work alike. We never know what tomorrow is going to be. We're always just being creative and trying to find new opportunities. It's funny, I felt guilty when I saw him today because he actually created a new program for us that we're launching in the summer. It's a week-long program, so we're excited about. But I sold it in a proposal to this university, and it has the #1 executive ed program in South America, number 14 in the world. Just couple days ago. I was like, oh, I haven't told David about this yet. And then I saw him, and he's just like, oh, I almost closed this deal for us in Chile. I'm like, what? Like, so I mean, you know, we're always working collaboratively and working for each other and working for the organization. But, you know, he's a great guy, great heart. Our students love him. We love him. So congratulations, David. You definitely deserve it. Thank you.
Wow, what was that? Okay. I think if there's one theme that you get from listening to everyone speak about the instructors they work with, and then listening to the instructors, I'm sitting here listening, and I think I'm just so overwhelmed right now about who I'm associated with. I mean, I think we all love this organization and what it stands for, but then I'm sitting and realizing it stands for all these people here, for the dean, for Van, for Ing, who I know very well, who's lovely, and you just, it's an overwhelming thing, the gift that we've been given, the privilege to work with such amazing people who care so deeply about what they do. I mean, I think as I just keep sitting there and listening to everyone's stories, I don't even care about mine anymore. You know, it's just, what a great thing we're part of. How lucky we are. You know, when I get to go into a classroom and teach students, you know, and you get the ability to connect with someone. I just remember what it meant for me when I was a student. You know, listening, you know, I come from a poor neighborhood in Chicago, just like the south side of the Bronx. I know what it's like to have someone care. And you could go one direction and have someone really just steer you somewhere else, just by taking a few minutes of their time, just by caring so much about what they teach, that it became alive. You know, I think of all that we deal with these businesses and you know, how many times they become impersonal. But then I'm looking around this room and realizing it's not the technology and all the new platforms that we have. It's all of us, you know, all of you people that do such amazing things. This is what humanity is. This is what we teach. This is why I'm so proud to be part of this, because I'm here with all of you. You know, I've taught at UCLA. I got asked to teach a lecture one time. I used to be an investment banker, which is terrible. And even worse, I'd actually worked for Goldman Sachs, which is even worse. So forgive me in advance. So but I came once to lecture on something that Van mentioned, which was arbitrage, teaching people how to steal money from banks, and which is legal. Which is legal technically, and so, but you know, it wasn't even that. It was I got to lecture and I was just engaging, and I realized this job has purpose, and that was what was missing, you know, in so many things that I had done. And here I am, so proud to be a teacher, and and that one lecture led to so much, and it changed everything I do. I'm just so happy when Van calls. I don't care what it is, because every time you walk into a room, every time you get to engage with people, you get so much more than you give. You get to go home, you know, and you get to really. I mean, you know you've done something. Not everyone gets that in their job or their career. And here we are at UCLA, this amazing institution, surrounded by all of you, everyone, all these people who care so much. Everyone says the same thing. Van's amazing. His staff, Dennis, and all these guys, they're so amazing. They care. That's the difference. That's why the programs that we have at UCLA, I don't care what you teach. It's amazing. And for someone who's connecting with you, for whatever that is, in the arts, the humanities, the sciences, it doesn't matter. It's amazing. Because you make it amazing. It's something that the computer online teaching can't ever replace. It can't replace you. I'm listening to you care. I can feel it. I'm sitting in the back of the room, and I feel, you know, the people I'm surrounded by. And I just feel so amazingly privileged to be part of this group. I can only echo all the things that everyone else has said. They've all complimented all the staff, which is so true. They've complimented the experience they've had with great students, their own personal connections. And it's very emotional. It's emotional because all of you care. I used to always think, when I started my career, it was such a great thing, going and getting into investment banking was so hard. But nothing compares to this. You touch people. You change their lives. They change yours. We work with businesses, and we do the same thing, and it's very important. They need that direction. They need a connection. They need to know someone cares, too, that what they experienced early in their career really means something, because they can change the world. And that's how teachers change the world. So for this, I'm thankful. To be recognized by your peers, and such amazing peers, is profound. And it's certainly something I'm never going to forget and can never say thank you enough for. And it means a lot. It means an awful lot to stand up here in front of all of you and say thank you. So for that, I'll even be shorter.
The next program to award is our digital technology program, and Bruce Wong will be the presenter there. Bruce?
Good evening. The distinguished instructor for digital technology we're honoring tonight happens to be the first instructor I ever met here when I first started it. So when I started here, like 2 weeks after I started here, and so I was looking at the programs, trying to figure out things, and I saw one of the classes very popular, and it's called Introduction to SQL class. So I was trying to look up the instructor, trying to figure out what's going on, and so I called Richard Palin, and so I called Richard, and I said, hey, I just got here, I want to figure things out, and can you help me out? And I said, yeah, I'd love to talk to you. In fact, I want to talk to you about another course, right? So I can feel the passion. I can feel, this guy's really passionate about what we do. Now, for him to be selected or nominated to be distinguished instructors for our department has nothing to do with me. So when we're looking for an instructor to recognize, I asked the department, I said, who should we recognize? Everyone in the department voted for him. We only have 2 people in the department. So Richard has been in the industry for 25 years, and he has UCLA all over his body, right? Everything. He's a UCLA alumni, got a master's degree from UCLA. He worked for the Capital program as a programmer, as a SQL developer, and he's been teaching for UCLA Extension since 2005. So it's one of our longtime instructors, and unfortunately, he could not be here tonight. He told me that I can keep the check. Thank you.
Next up is our education department, Sue Marshall.
Good evening. I am very pleased to acknowledge distinguished instructor Pat Murphy. Pat has been a valuable member of our education department faculty for almost a decade. She currently works for our teacher credentialing programs as an instructor for elementary and secondary and special education teacher candidates, as well as teachers who seek advanced certifications. But earlier in her tenure with Extension, Pat had also been a member of the instructional team that worked with our Pathway program. Pat has distinguished herself in several different roles. She's an exceptional teacher. She has a great deal of knowledge and experience in teacher education and very strong pedagogical skills. She is also a very skillful clinical supervisor. These are the people who observe and work closely with our teacher candidates and guide them to improve their teaching practices and to differentiate instruction so that all their students are learning and succeeding. And she is a great mentor for our other teacher education instructors and other clinical supervisors. When I first met Pat, something that stood out for me with her was her desire to consistently and continually examine and improve her courses, improve her teacher candidates' learning experiences, and to improve her own instructional practices. In one of our very first meetings I had with Pat a few years ago, we were discussing ways to improve on professional portfolios that our teacher candidates were using, and they'd use them to collect and reflect on evidence of professional growth. And we were both saying, well, we could probably do something better than what we're doing now. So we were brainstorming ways of creating electronic portfolios for collecting and sharing multimedia evidence that the teacher candidates could collect. And within just several weeks of that conversation, Pat had already taken the initiative to redesign a much improved electronic portfolio, a template for her teacher candidates to use using Google Sites, and a much improved process for teacher candidates to evaluate their own progress with multimedia evidence. And it's been that way ever since. Every time we talk, I'm inspired. She takes initiative to make improvements, to make changes, and to make the learning experiences of her students special. Since then, Pat has continued to improve other aspects of our teacher education programs, including the ways that clinical supervisors use video and guided questioning to coach their teacher candidates after they observe their teaching. And she's been improving our alignment of courses with outcomes related to state changes in standards for teacher credentialing. However, what I really want to emphasize is one of the ways in which Pat truly shines, and that's when she has a teacher candidate who is having some difficulty with courses or difficulty in their teaching placement out in a school. Pat goes above and beyond with her time, her energy to identify what that struggling teacher candidate needs and to provide it. In course evaluations, it's very common for students to say things like, Pat kept working with us until we understood everything. And I think this really underscores that Pat Murphy just won't let any student fail. She doesn't give up on anybody. On behalf of Extension, I want to thank Pat for her many contributions and dedication to training highly qualified teachers, and I'm very pleased to recognize her as a 2017 Distinguished Instructor.
Well, thank you, Dean Smoots and Associate Dean Vaughn, for selecting me to be a distinguished instructor. It's truly an honor with these incredible recipients and colleagues, but truly the accolades go to Sue and Miriam and Francisco and the UCLA Extension staff, because they are always there, always positive, always resilient, and just the most incredible people to work with. Just to share a little bit about our intern program and the alternative accreditation program. Many of you, when you received your credential, went through a traditional program, so you had that educational background and then you went into your classroom. But your first year teaching was probably pretty tough because we learn through our mistakes. Well, being an educational intern, you're learning on the job, which makes it really challenging, because you're learning how to do the lesson plans, how to do the environment, how to work with behavior, how to do all the technology that schools want on the job. But through Sue's incredible leadership, we came up with a multi-tiered support system where we have on-site support, we have the mentors, we have the methodology teachers and the practicum teacher, that's me, and we work individually with the interns. So we totally understand that the students too, many times people will say, well, when you're in a class with an intern, that the students, it's just a year of practice for that intern. But we take it very seriously, that we monitor their progress, we critique, we self-reflect, we collaborate. So all along the process, from quarter one to the final quarter, spring quarter, we're supporting that teacher, collaborating, self-reflecting, assessing, changing. And it's so incredible to see the teachers from August to now, and they are so confident, and they synthesize what we've taught, all of this instructional strategies, and they're bringing their own personalities into their classroom. So it's very, very exciting. One of the things, too, just working at UCLA Extension, I think what everyone said, it's incredible to work in an institution that really believes in supporting our staff. So I've learned so much here from technology, putting video into my Canvas, which with Canvas, we actually use Canvas as classroom walks, where the teachers post examples from the classroom. So it's like going through a textbook, a live textbook where teachers collaborate and share what's going on in the classrooms. But learning the video, learning cognitive coaching, information about copyright laws. So I really appreciate what UCLA Extension offers us as faculty. One of the things I wanted to share too is that I received all of my degrees from USC, and I have been a Trojan for decades. My sons were raised as Trojans. But working here, where the focus is on integrity and creativity and collaboration and excellence, where we all strive, I think all of the speeches here, we all strive for social justice and the impact on future generations. So from one Bruin to another, thank you so much.
The next academic department is engineering, and Faraz Shamirian will be the presenter for that. Faraz?
Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to introduce Chris Christensen, our Distinguished Instructor Award recipient from Engineering Department. Chris has been teaching for our technical management program for over 25 years. A couple of words about our technical management program. It was introduced back in 1955. It has more than 60 years of history, and it's really designed for the new managers who come up the rank through the engineering and technical background. So it's very specific in terms of helping the new managers to manage their technical teams and peers. In that regard, the industry experience or those who have gone through exactly the same process is very important, and that's why when Chris joined UCLA Extension after many decades of industry experience, both in government and private sector, that clearly was a great match. And year after year, as Chris has been teaching these new managers how to transition from a technical engineering background to their new roles as managers, they appreciate that. They appreciate the wisdom, the experiences, the actual case examples and case studies that Chris shares with them. But perhaps more importantly, and equally important, is his presence, his style, and his personality. I just wanted to share with you a couple of comments that I just got from the most recent offering of the technical management program. And here's what students wrote. Excellent presenter, valuable lessons based on real-life stories, love the class, would like to continue. Of course, this is a $4,000 course offered twice a year, and it's not cheap to come back, but they like to come back and listen to Chris more. In fact, I could listen to him all day long. Such a wealth of wisdom, love the teaching style. Wow, true expert. Engaging, funny, and well-informed, great class. These are some of the comments, and in fact, these are very good representative of many, many time after time comments that we read from Chris's students. In fact, to the extent that when the students go back to their companies, oftentimes we get requests that we want Chris come back to teach those classes to our peers who didn't have the opportunity to come to the UCLA campus. For example, last month I got a call from this individual who attended technical management program about 10 years ago. So now, recently, he was promoted into director of engineering role in a company, aerospace company in upstate New York, and he was challenged. He wanted to train his new managers and leaders with the latest soft skills and managerial skills. Well, he called us. 10 years later, he remembered Chris, and he especially asked for Chris's course to be offered at their company site. And this is just an example. Chris often is very sought after by companies both locally and domestically across the nation to offer his courses. And that's all because when they come here, they see and then they go back, they remember what Chris shared with them. His contributions, however, does not stop in the class. He's been a great mentor for all the junior instructors, new instructors that have come on board. Oftentimes, he spends long hours with them, helping them to come up to speed, and some of the experiences that he has gained at TMP he shares with them. Also, he has been a great mentor to me and also the department staff. Oftentimes, he comes up with ideas to improve our technical management program. Just recently, last March, when we had the last TMP, he had an excellent idea that we tried to test, and we tested with 8 participants for one company. On his volunteer time, he spent hours mentoring these 8 individuals who had come from that company, beyond class, above class. And the whole idea was to follow up with them month after month, maybe 6 months down the road, to really see that they apply these principles that they learn at UCLA back at their workplace. So indeed, I'm very pleased and honored to have this award given to Chris Christensen. Chris.
Kevin, I have memorized one of my evaluations. It said, "Chris, for an old guy, you rock." And I mention that because I really am an old guy, and I'm well aware of it. I'm also proud of it, because what my student meant and what many of my students seek is they seek people who've had experiences. As Viraz mentioned, that's what I try to bring to the class, is sharing my experiences with them. But I want to tell you another story. I had a couple of students in my class, one of my classes, a few years ago, who were a couple, a bright, young, attractive couple of postdocs. They both had their PhDs, and they were in their very early 30s, and they were sitting in the back of my classroom. And as the class proceeded, many of the members of my class used their texting, and they use their laptops and so on. I actually encourage that. And so it didn't surprise me that during my lecture, during my speaking, they were back there on their phones, clicking away. But when we took a break, and this couple sat in back, and everyone else had left the room, and there was just this one couple sitting in back, texting, I went back and I said, looked at what they were doing, and I said, "What are you doing?" And they said, "Well, we're texting each other." And I couldn't resist. I said, all you have to do is just turn your head, and you could practice some of those communication skills that you're going to need in your marriage. And this is what the young man said to me. He looked up at me and he said, 5 years from now, my wife will be on a spaceship on her way to Mars, and I will be running a company in South Carolina, and we will be texting each other. We are practicing the skills that we will need to communicate in the future. Your communication skills are antiquated. Now, my first response to that, of course, was, I wonder if they've really eliminated violence from the classroom. But I thought about it, and I've thought about it ever since. And I believe this young man was absolutely correct. It is my responsibility as an instructor to take my ideas and my experiences to the class, but it's their responsibility to package it, take it back to their workplace, and put it into work. It's not my job to tell them how to do that, because I don't know how. My job is simply to explain what I have experienced. I tell my classes often, I've probably not solved every problem that you had, but I'll bet I've had every problem that you have. And I share with them what I've tried, what other people have tried, what's failed, what hasn't failed, and we've talked about it, and they've come up with their solutions. And so, as many people have mentioned already, I learn a lot more from my classes than I teach them. And I really see my role as basically giving people an opportunity to learn, not teaching them anything that I have prepared for them to learn. What a great opportunity to work with my fellow instructors at the Technical Management Program. I just have no idea how to tell you what a privilege it is just to get up in the morning those 2 times, those 2 weeks a year that we have the TMP, and to go and meet those people that I get to work with. That in itself is a phenomenal experience, to look at these people who have been giants in their industry, in their fields, and have a privilege to be one of them, appear among them. And then to work with Viraz and June and the other people in their organization, and Bill Gooden, and some people that I'd like to, just have been with me and helped me over these years. What a privilege to be with the caliber of people that I have to work with. And then to come here tonight and realize what incredible, distinguished people I'm sitting with. Thank you for this privilege. I really don't have words to express how grateful I am to you for allowing me to participate and share this with you. Thank you.
From Humanities and Sciences, Rick Zapala.
What a great night, huh? Congratulations, everybody. My name is Rick Zapala. I'm the director of the Department of Humanities and Sciences. And I'm very honored to introduce the recipient of the Distinguished Instructor Award for our department, Dr. Oshan Odom. Dr. Odom has been teaching with us since 2013. And among the hundreds of instructors, literally hundreds of instructors that teach with us in our department, each quarter he has truly distinguished himself, not only for his mastery of the subject matter which he teaches, but also for his humble nature, his passion for teaching, and his accessibility and willingness to help the students be successful. Over the past 4 years, Dr. Odom has taught over 25 sections of chemistry. One of the things that makes him so remarkable is that he not only teaches the 2 most advanced organic chemistry courses that we offer, but he also teaches the Introduction to College Chemistry class. Although most of the students that he teaches have their eventual eye on medical school, the fact that he can teach students with such significant chemistry disparities is remarkable. He teaches students with tremendous experience in chemistry and those experiencing chemistry for the first time. This alone makes him a tremendous asset to our institution. In addition to the numerous words of praise that are included in our quarterly instructor evaluations, I actually often receive emails directly from students who really want to further acknowledge the impact that he's made in their lives. One student recently wrote to say, "Dr. Odom inspires me to chase my dreams no matter what obstacles I face." Another one wrote and described his teaching as refreshing. And I say, these are really weird words to use for chemistry. But many other students have commented on his teaching style because he integrates real-world applications to the abstract concepts of organic chemistry. He makes the subject relatable in a way that students feel that they will be able to use the information, not only to be successful on the MCAT or to be successful in medical school, but to actually use the information in a practical way when they finally become doctors. Dr. Odom has a passion, an enthusiasm, and a genuine kindness and a concern for his students' learning and success. He's truly invested in his students. And it is with tremendous honor and gratitude that I'm able to present him with this award for the distinguished instructor in our department.
You heard it. If you have not had chemistry before, I am available. How many of you, if I may ask, like chemistry when you were in college? I see that. Well, you're not alone if you didn't like chemistry. I was one of those too. And I make this first my opening speech to the student. If I can do it as a chemist, you can do it too, because I didn't like chemistry either. I don't know even where to start. My teaching style, it comes from my personal life experience. First, I was almost killed the first day of college chemistry class because I came in with a flu. I was badly sick, but I still dragged myself into the chemistry lab. And the instructor told me to look at an empty bottle that was sitting on the counter somewhere. And I followed him. I thought he was really being concerned about my condition. He asked me to just open that bottle and sniff what is inside it. It turned out that bottle used to contain ammonia, and it was dry. So for the next 2 weeks, I saw only green light. And up to now, I cannot forget that. That was chemistry I teach them too in the class here. Yeah. I give disclaimers though. Anyway, I am an environmental scientist. I work for the city of Los Angeles. If you don't hear about me, it means I'm doing a good job. Before that, I was teaching at Cal State Fullerton. How I left my job there was, my wife there probably knows best. One Saturday, I just got up and I thought I'd been giving exam for too long. Let me go try to sit for one myself. And the city was offering a chemistry exam somewhere in Fairfax High School. So I went and did it. In 30 minutes, I was done. And before I know it, I was asked to go and take up a job with the city. And that's how I got there. But the desire to teach kept calling back. So I came back to teaching here. But my first experience in chemistry, bad as it was, I didn't want to fail when I came here. Because what I learned over the years is that a student would either hate the chemistry teacher or hate the subject. And I didn't want any of those to happen to me. So what I did, which some of you might find useful, is the first day to bring the best critic on earth to sit in the back of the class. And that was my wife. So after 2 classes, I got an earful on what not to do. So you might want to try that, it works. In my class, usually what I do is the very first meeting we have, we have a serious discussion with students. I get to know each other. And my point is, usually, I take my responsibility very seriously, simply because 90% of my students end up being doctors. They go to medical school. And I tell them frankly that if I woke up one day from a coma and I found you standing beside my bed in your lab coat and I know who you are, I'm going to unplug all the drip needles and run away. So they know that. Second, I tell them, those who are not going to medical school, that I want to protect myself. I don't want to be investigated by the Congress because of your medical malpractice somewhere. Because you're going to say, well, he taught me that. Say, no. So if I give you a 0, that will be an honest 0. You got it. So they accept that. So my class, I guess what I'm saying is my class is a very engaging class because like some of you have already admitted here, you don't like chemistry like I didn't like it either. Imagine sitting in a chemistry or chem class for 4 hours, non-stop on a Saturday morning. Can you do that? And if you're an instructor, how do you keep students engaged for that long? What I do is I just tell stories because I know every element of the periodic table except the last 3 added by Japanese last year. I probably had experience with each of them on a personal level, so I have stories for all of them. The way I was taught chemistry in high school, in college, initially was not a good experience. The teacher used to just put his hand in the pocket, walk away without relating what the subject matter was to my life. I changed that. Over here, my class is full of stories, and I welcome to come to it. When I started seeing changes about 2 years ago, the number of students started increasing in my class every quarter, and I kept wondering, what am I doing wrong? Because when students start liking you, sometimes don't take it as a compliment. You're probably doing something wrong, So maybe I wasn't, because I'm now standing here holding this. I'm so grateful to Rick for having offered me this opportunity to be here in the program, and the staff that have always supported me. So is not here, and Linda is not here, especially those at the AV department. I could not have done anything without them because I teach over the weekend. My only regret so far is that all the instructors' development program that are offered here, I cannot attend because all those times I'll be teaching also. So I've never had the chance to be part of it. So I'm really grateful for this. I'm thankful for the program and the honor and the students. My students still keep in touch with me because they need my recommendation. I write a lot of those. So thank you very much.
It's now my pleasure to introduce the winner of our Dean's Award. As I said, collaboration is one of the 4 main priorities in our strategic plan. We are collaborating effectively if we are connecting with our community, our university, and each other, then we are better able to fulfill our educational mission. UCLA Extension's course and certificate offerings have to be woven into the fabric of the community of learners that we serve, because so many of our students rely upon what they learn from us to help them define or redefine their place in the community. That means they rely upon our instructors not only to understand the material they're teaching, but also how that material is applicable to the real-world settings in which our students will be putting that material to work, as our instructors have talked about tonight. Similarly, while teaching will always be the most critical contribution instructors make to our mission, there are other ways for instructors to serve the UCLA Extension community. The winner of the 2017 Dean's Award has dedicated her professional and emotional life to no less a goal than saving the world. Not bad. How's that for a strategic priority? Narit Katz has taught in our sustainability program since 2009. She is also UCLA's first ever Chief Sustainability Officer, as well as the Executive Officer for UCLA Facilities Management. In nominating Narit for this award, Stephanie Hoekstra of the Humanities and Sciences Department called her, quote, an awe-inspiring instructor who lives and breathes sustainability. Her students also speak highly of her, stating that, quote, Nurit's passion for sustainability really shines through. She inspired all of us to learn both inside the class and beyond. What do we mean by beyond? Well, in addition to guiding and mentoring students herself, Nurit organizes quarterly networking events for students and alumni of the sustainability program, inviting local and state professionals and academics within the field to connect with her students. Nurit's passion for sustainability is also evident in the time and effort she invests in supporting the sustainability program. In her nomination, Stephanie noted that Nurit's working relationship in the field helped keep the program as a whole up to speed on trends, sustainability news, and local events. Nurit conveys this information both informally and as a core member of the Sustainability Program Advisory Committee. Nurit is also a pioneer when it comes to reimagining learning. This summer, 2017, she will be one of 3 instructors to help pilot the new SMART network that we put in place, where she will be broadcasting her class to a different location. Outside of Extension, Nurit is active within the broader UCLA and local communities. Before taking on her current role, she founded the UCLA Sustainable Resource Center to provide resources for the community on sustainability. She also helped launch the UCLA Center for Corporate Environmental Performance, where she worked on a variety of sustainability projects, including a project for the city of Los Angeles that focused on transit-oriented development along the Expo Light Rail. Nurit's work is recognized by UCLA and the community. She was honored as one of 100 inspirational alumni for the 75th anniversary of the UCLA Anderson School of Management, as well as one of the top 100 business trailblazers in the Women Worth Watching 2015 issue of Profiles in Diversity Journal. Stephanie concludes her nomination by saying that Nurit, quote, effortlessly takes on a challenging workload and wears multiple hats to serve her students and others, always with a smile on her face. Nurit is a pioneer in the field of sustainability and someone who I believe genuinely is making the world a better place. I consider myself very lucky to continue to work with Nurit and could not be more proud of her rare set of accomplishments. This is me now, not Stephanie. I am very proud to add one more accomplishment to the many honors she has already received. Please join me in congratulating our Deeds Award winner, Nurit Katz.
Thank you very, very much, Dean Smuts and Associate Dean Kevin Vaughn, and all of the Extension leadership. I'm really, truly touched by this award. Thank you, Stephanie, for the really kind nomination. I really, really love Extension. I really appreciate everything that this community stands for and does. I also want to thank all of the staff, Mark and Evan and Lindsay and everyone here tonight for supporting this program. Rick, thank you for hosting our certificate program. And because it's truly an interdisciplinary program, thank you to Scott and Varaz and Van and others who've helped make it possible over the years. So I have to go last here after so many amazing stories. I really feel honored to be part of this really, truly distinguished group of professionals. So I'll try to keep it pretty brief, but I have a few more thank yous and a couple quick remarks. So I'd like to thank my colleague Robin Bird, who's here tonight, who is part of an extension certificate program right now, but mainly because she's been there for me all these years I've been teaching as I take off my day hat and often in a hurry throw on my night hat to go teach. And she's been telling me for years to write a book. She's a professional playwright, so she keeps encouraging me to write a book about the stories of my students, and someday, maybe I will, but I really appreciate it. I also want to thank my grandma and my mom who couldn't make it tonight, but are going to watch, so thank you for video taping. My mom really was one of my first teachers, and I recently was thinking back to what I did before Google, and it was I would call her because she really was a model and is a model of continuing education and continuing learning. She spent many years in school, studying all kinds of subjects. I think when she graduated her undergrad, it was with, I don't remember how many units, but it was like it was a lot. It was a lot of units and a lot of different things which she studied. And so she always inspired me in that way. And also taught me to be self-taught and to find information, because I would ask her questions and she'd often say, go look it up. It was in the encyclopedia at the time, but now, go Google it. Even if she knew the answer, she would encourage me to figure it out myself. And so that's really helped me over the years, and something that I now try to share with my students, because I think what I find is that nowadays information is readily available. So I don't feel my role is to be the expert and stand there and just hand knowledge to the students. It's to give them frameworks to sort through that flood of information that we're all deluged with every day. So I'm curious, how many people here have heard of sustainability? Okay, almost everybody. How many would feel confident defining it? Like almost nobody. Maybe Stephanie's got an educational background in that. And so that's part of what we're tackling with this program, is that sustainability is critically important, but not always completely understood. And so we try to give our students the tools to have conversations about it with people from any walk of life, because it really is a human issue, and to help them translate it. So also thank you to David Colgan, who's guest teaching for me tonight on sustainability communications, because it's my night to teach. So, what I've found in this class that is especially inspiring, of course, is the students. And so my question tonight is, what do these people have in common? A law student from Sweden, an architect from Turkey, a massage therapist from Argentina, a lawyer from China, an MBA from Mongolia, a hospital scientist from Switzerland, a marketing professional from the Netherlands, a dentist from India, a store owner from Mexico City, an actress from Tunisia, an Italian working in Belgium at the European Commission, an entrepreneur from France, and a writer from Dubai. And the answer is they were all in my winter 2017 Principles of Sustainability class. This program is truly interdisciplinary, truly multi-sector, and draws people from every background, every industry, every walk of life. And my youngest student was a high school student passionate about this topic, and my eldest was 87 years old and trying to start a new nonprofit. And that's one of my favorite things about Extension, is that diversity of our community, the students, the instructors, the staff. And I find it really inspiring, especially on the topic of sustainability, that so many people are drawn to this from all over the world, from all these different backgrounds, looking to make a difference, to solve these complex global issues. We're tackling really difficult topics. How do we distribute resources in an equitable way? How do we innovate new industrial revolution? How do we tackle global poverty and inequality and food systems? A lot of really exciting topics. And, in a challenging time like we have right now, where maybe support for these issues, nationally and for public education is also struggling, to see all these people who are driven to make a difference really inspires me every day. My day job here at UCLA starts pretty early. I'm usually in by 6 or 7. So by the time I go to teach, sometimes I'm really, really tired, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But at the end of class, I swear I'm always energized. I walk out of there, and to have gotten to spend a couple hours, setting aside the putting out fires that we do day to day, and to talk about these big important issues with people from all over the world just really motivates me and inspires me every day. And so I would, close in sharing what is one of my favorite quotes about teaching, and I share it with my students every quarter, which is a Yeats quote, and he said that education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. And I really, truly believe that. I know you're all living it also. And I sometimes put a sustainability spin on that and say it's like planting a seed. And so I really hope that all of the gardens of learning that we are all planting and enjoying continue to grow and flourish. And I just really thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for letting me be here with you tonight. So enjoy.
Well, those were some pretty amazing stories. I mean, how can you not be inspired by that? And we have 2,500 instructors at UCLA Extension. There were 9 honored tonight. But these are the best of the best, and we thank you for all of your terrific work. As people were speaking this evening, certainly words that came to me as they spoke were things like passionate, inspirational, committed, purposeful, humorous, caring, and certainly student-centric. I mean, students mean a lot to these people, and that's really important for the students and important for what we do at Extension. Our vision, for those of you who may not know it, is to use the power of education to transform lives, businesses, and communities worldwide. And I think these instructors are certainly doing that. So let's give them a big hand. I will end tonight on just giving everybody a little peek into the future. On June 1st, at the NAFSA conference here in Los Angeles, UCLA will announce a new initiative called UCLA Global Online. We're providing leadership as a delivery system to take UCLA's campus master's degrees and certificates and extensions certificates and courses worldwide. Hearing the stories of these instructors tonight make me feel like we need more students to have access to this. And that's exactly what UCLA Global will do. So look for it in the future. We're pleased to keep moving forward, and thanks for coming tonight.